Hello and welcome to Hindustan Times. I'm Datta. We've had a busy few hours here in New Delhi and worldwide. In the wee hours of today, the Israeli military carried out several strikes targeting Iran's nuclear facilities and military sites across the country. And just minutes ago, we got confirmation from the Israeli Defense Forces spokesperson that Iran launched approximately 100 UAVs towards Israeli territory in retaliation. Now, Iran's attack does not come as a surprise, as it was a matter of when and not if. But given it's a developing story, we are still awaiting more information. If we could quickly go back to Israel's first strike. The first strike came to Iran's capital city of Tehran. Soon after, Prime Minister Netanyahu released a pre-recorded statement. We would quickly like to play that for you.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons.
Calling the operation as Rising Lion, he said the strikes were aimed at hurting Iran's nuclear infrastructure and ballistic missile factories, and also claimed that the attack is in defense of the survival of the state of Israel. The Prime Minister also claimed that Iran has enough enriched uranium to make 9 atomic bombs. And it could make these bombs in less than a year, which is being seen as a threat by Israel. Now, at this very point, it becomes very important to make our viewers understand that less than 24 hours ago, for the very first time, IAEA, which is United Nations nuclear watchdog, for the very first time in 20 years said that Iran is not complying with its nuclear obligation that was set by the watchdog as well as the other Western countries. Now, coming back to the attack, within hours, Iranian state media reported that the head of Iran's armed forces has been killed. Iranian state TV confirmed this to us. They were Hossein Salami, Commander-in-Chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Iran's most elite military force as it's seen, and Major General Mohammad Bagheri, overall commander of the Iranian army and the IRGC. At least 2 nuclear scientists were also killed in this very attack. One of them was the former head of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, and the other was the president of the Islamic Azad University in Tehran. Remember, the last time a senior military official was targeted at this scale was on 3rd of January back in 2020, 5 years ago, when Qasem Soleimani, the chief of IRGC, was killed by an American drone strike ordered by US President Donald Trump near the Baghdad International Airport in Iraq. And with those developments, Operation Rising Lion has definitely dealt a significant blow to Iran, with dozens of strikes across the country, and the assessment of which is still ongoing. So we are awaiting a lot of confirmation at this point. Whatever we can tell you, we are telling you as of now. Also, here's a ground report from one of the local news correspondents of Iranian media.
I am on Ferazadi Street, and as you can see, the building behind me is on fire, and it has been an hour since we have arrived here, and the rescue and fire forces are busy trying to extinguish the fire. People were transferred to the back entrance, and they were let out, but the next buildings are completely evacuated, and unfortunately the body of the deceased was seen, among them child and mother, and it seems the building was residential. Due to a gas leak, the building could not be distinguished completely, and the rescue forces are trying to put out the fire.
Let's now take a closer look as to where Israel exactly attacked across Iran. As I keep telling you, we are awaiting more confirmation, but it looks like Israel has carried out airstrikes in 6 different locations across Iran. Strikes have been confirmed in the following locations. The map on your screen: the capital of Tehran, military sites in the surrounding area, the city of Natanz, south of Tehran, which is the location of Iran's main uranium enrichment facility. Now, right after this attack, Rafael Grossi, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, said that the UN body is closely monitoring the situation in Iran, and also therefore confirmed that Natanz site was among the targets. The watchdog confirmed moments ago that there has been no increase in radiation levels at the nuclear site as of now. We are closely tracking this development from Natanz because this is one of the major sites. Now, diplomats with knowledge of Natanz describe the FEP as being about 3 floors below ground. ground. In fact, there has been a long debate of how much damage Israeli airstrikes could do to it. And today, unfortunately, we are still asking the same question. Another target was the city of Tabriz, northwest of Tehran, where explosions have been reported near a nuclear research center and 2 military bases. The city of Isfahan, south of Tehran, has also come under attack. And the city of Arak, southwest of Tehran, has also come under attack. And lastly, the city of Kermanshah, that is west of Tehran, has also been reportedly struck by Israel. Now, in all of this between Israel and Iran, one thing that becomes extremely important to discuss is the United States' involvement. Israel's first wave of strikes against Iran came less than 3 hours after Trump reiterated commitment to diplomacy with Tehran. Diplomacy, not deterrence. U.S. Secretary of State, in fact, reacted to this right after Israel struck Iran, saying that the United States is not involved in the strikes, warning Iran against attacking American bases in the region because of that. Now, what becomes very, very important to mention here is that less than 24 hours before this attack, Trump did in fact, pull out troops from the Middle Eastern bases, some of the non-essential troops from Baghdad to Tel Aviv and a few other places. Now, we are still awaiting confirmation if the United States knew about Israel's attack, which experts say is highly likely, but US has categorically said that it was not part of the attack. What also becomes important in the larger scheme of things when it comes to politics, which is very, very closely knit when it comes to the US and Israel, over the past few weeks, polar opposites in the right and left ideological spectrum of US politics have warned Trump to resist being dragged into war with Iran by Israel, some of which we have also seeing in Trump's comments that he has made when it comes to Iran, where he has been constantly pushing for diplomacy and talks with Iran and not airstrikes. One of the most important quotes that I believe came before the attack, which kind of gives us a sense of where US and Israel's ties are heading, is from far-right Congresswoman Taylor Greene. She said, and I'm quoting, "Americans don't want to bomb Iran because the secular government of Israel says that Iran is on the verge of developing a nuclear bomb any day now. We have been told that for the past 20 years. Now, support for Israel in the US political establishment remains formidable, of course. We have seen that especially during the US election campaign for last year's election on November 5th. But it has been showing cracks in recent years, both in public opinion and amongst politicians, particularly progressive Democrats. Now, unconditional backing for Israel may start to slip in both major US parties, and President Trump to convene National Security Council meeting on Friday morning is something we are hearing, that on Friday morning a White House statement is expected, as President Trump will convene a meeting of the National Security Council in Washington, D.C. That's about at 11 a.m. local time, and which is about 8:30 p.m. here in India, to discuss these very attacks and counterattacks between Israel and Iran. Now, I had also spoken to senior economist and geopolitical expert Jeffrey Sachs about a month ago, and this is what he had warned about Israel, and his statements seem to be extremely important in the affairs that we are seeing since this morning.
Netanyahu wants to have a war with Iran. More specifically, Netanyahu wants the United States to have a war with Iran. This could be devastating. Everybody should understand Iran is a powerful country. It's got formidable armaments, and it has a security agreement with Russia. To go to war with Iran is to play with fire. It's to play with the risk of global war.
Iran's official Islamic Republic news agency has published a statement from the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and this statement, I have to point out, came before the barrage of UAV attacks that Iran has launched against Israel. And I'm quoting, "The great nation of Iran, the Zionist regime, at dawn today opened its dirty and bloody hand to a crime in our beloved country and revealed its evil nature more than ever by striking residential centers. The regime must expect severe punishment. The powerful hand of the Islamic Republic's armed forces will not abandon him, God willing. Several commanders and scientists were martyred in the enemy attack. Their successors and colleagues will immediately resume their duties. With this crime, the Zionist regime prepared for itself a bitter and painful fate, and it will definitely receive it. Just coming in from Iran's army commander, in fact, he is saying that the supreme leader has ordered the country's military to take quote-unquote revenge. Now, as I told you, this statement came before the UAVs were launched from Iran to Israel as seen as a retaliation. The most important question here becomes then what happens next? In Israel, people were woken up at around 3 a.m. local time by a burst of sirens following a phone alert warning of a significant threat and instructing the people to stay close to a shelter. Now, this was the point where Israel had launched attacks against Iran and was expecting when the retaliation would come, hence the alert to all the residents of Israel. Israel has also declared a state of emergency, saying the country expected counterattacks in the immediate future. And now the whole country has been shook with the latest UAV attacks. Israeli military chief has said its army is mobilizing tens of thousands of soldiers in a televised address. And Israeli military chief of staff Eyal Zamir has warned that anyone who tries to challenge Israel will pay a heavy price. Now, these kind of statements and also the kind of narratives that's being built from both sides, Tel Aviv as well as Tehran, is extremely concerning at the moment, given it's very uncertain what's to come. Also, the Iranian regime will attempt to attack Israel is something the regime and its supreme leader has made very, very clear. The expected cost will be very different from what we have been expecting and what we have been seeing in the recent past. So what many of us are taking clues from are the last few times the two nations have come to blows. Like in April, Iran launched about 300 missiles and drones at Israel, which Israel responded to with a limited strike, as it called, quote-unquote, limited strike on a missile defense system. Over the coming months, Israel went on to assassinate several leading figures from Iranian proxy groups across the region, including Hamas and Hezbollah. And Iran hit back in October by launching about 180 ballistic missiles at Israel, which responded with a series of targeted strikes on Iranian military facilities. The reported scale of this latest attack is bigger than anything we have ever seen in the recent past, and it seems like Israel is bracing for a bigger response too. As I keep telling you, we are awaiting confirmation on what exactly is happening with Iran's retaliation against Israel. Now, as concerning as the entire situation is, many experts are warning that we might see a confrontation between Iran and Israel that we haven't seen in recent past. Most of us have witnessed proxy attacks and not direct blows at this scale. As I said, we have seen tit-for-tat exchanges between Iran and Israel. Iran has not experienced military operations of this scale on its own soil since the Iran-Iraq war. Now, these are statements and live updates coming in. Stay tuned to Hindustan Times. I'm Ananya Datta, and I'll keep getting you everything that's happening on the ground.